Hi, everyone. My name is Jessica Riverson. My company is Permission to Charge, and I think this is my 11th or 12th lab, and so I'm very excited, having a lot of fun. And thank you for pressing the Tell a Little Birdie button. Today, I'm having some kind of glitch where I can't see it, but I trust that you are tweeting this out and letting other people know. Thanks, Cora, for doing it. I appreciate it. Go ahead, if you're just getting on, tell us what your specialty is as a coach and where you're coming in from. We've got someone from Palm Springs, St. Louis, Missouri. Tell us where you're coming from. And today I'm going to talk about how to convert your discovery sessions into new clients using Soulful Sales. And we're going to talk about how using these skills can help you increase your enrollment ratio so that, 7 to 8 out of 10 calls you can enroll into new clients. Hey, Oinky, tell us your specialty and where you're coming from. All right, so before I get into that, why am I talking about sales? Well, some of you know me from, my message being permission to charge and being able to charge your worth. And the thing about it is, it doesn't matter if you're charging your worth and, you've put your prices at a place where you're really giving value and getting value. But if you can't enroll clients, if you can't sell, then it really doesn't matter. So there's a few things going on here. We want to give ourselves permission to charge, and we want to stand in and on the value of what we have to offer. But if we are not able to take people through a process where they're excited to enroll and get started right now, then all of that doesn't really matter. So I cover a few pieces of the permission to charge journey, which is pricing and packaging your expertise, owning your worth, and then learning how to sell and attract more consultations and discovery sessions. Hey, Positive Library, tell us what kind of coach you are, and or if you're a service provider, tell us what kind of business owner you are and where you're coming from. And please do tweet it out. And if you like what I'm saying, there's these little hands, these yellow hands that clap, and you can give me props. And thank you. That tells me that you like this topic. And as I'm sharing tips, if you really like a tip, go ahead and give me some props. And that when I watch the replay, actually, I don't know if I can see it on the replay, but at least while we're live, I'll be able to see which tips really resonate with you the most. So, all right. So that's why we're talking about sales. Okay. We have to develop sales skills in order to actually receive what we're worth. So charging what you're worth is just one part of that equation. And I spent many years developing my consultation skills between my coaching business and my other business. I have done well over 1,000 consultations. Hey, Mahir, Karya, nice to see you. Tell us where you're coming from and what your specialty is. All right, so I'm going to teach you guys. You're from Tampa, awesome. I'm going to teach you guys some tips on Soulful Sales, how to use these in your consultations or discovery sessions. I use the word consultation and discovery session interchangeably. You might call your initial session something else, maybe a clarity call, strategy session, whatever you call it. It's kind of the same thing. It's that money conversation that helps you enroll a client into working with you. So I thought it would be really good if I shared something really personal first. So in my own Facebook group, I made this really long, see how long it is? Long post today. Some of you that are in my Facebook group, I'm going to post a link to it. If you are a female entrepreneur, I would love to welcome you in. So I'm going to go ahead and post the link. And again, not discriminating against guys. It just happens to be a women entrepreneur group. But I made this very personal post today. I thought I would share some of it. I don't think I'm going to read the whole thing. But if you're a woman entrepreneur in my Facebook group, you can read the whole thing. I know Cora's in my group now. And I'd actually love to welcome you as the 400th member. So we have four slots to get to 100. So maybe we'll get 4 new members today. Okay, so I decided this morning to share something about a situation that comes up in sales for a lot of people. And then I promise I'm going to get to some more of the tips that I was going to share. But I just thought I would start out with this story. So I had this big aha moment and I thought I would share it. And it's something that I've, gone through in the past, and it just kind of came up as something I wanted to share again. So a lot of times when you do consultations with people, some people enroll and some people don't. Hopefully you are tracking your closing ratio, or I like to call it the enrollment ratio. And you know that, for me, mine's about 78%. So I know when I do talk to a qualified prospect, most of the time they will enroll in one of my programs. So that is a pretty high closing ratio. And I want that for you as well, if that's not where you're at yet. So hopefully you are tracking it, because that's very important. All right, so this is the story that I posted in Facebook. What I said was, today you can choose to be angry with those who don't see your value, or don't bother to return your call or follow up with you after you've done a consultation or discovery session. And you've given your time, and you've given, helped them create some clarity and given some tips. So you can be angry about that, right? You can be frustrated, like, why don't they see the value? Or you have a few choices. You have a lot of choices, but here's 3 things that you could look at. So A, you can look at, are you attracting people that don't appreciate you? So again, before I get into some of the tips about sales, we have to make sure that we're attracting qualified prospects. So are you attracting people who don't appreciate you? The next one, B, maybe you're caring more about their success than they do. So when you're on the phone or, on Skype with someone that's interested in working with you, there's an energetic match going on there. Hey, Desiree. Hey, Patricia. Thanks for being here. Tell us your coaching specialty and where you're from, what city you're from. And if you would tell a little birdie about this, I would really appreciate it, because I know a lot of people probably need to hear this message. And I'm telling us a really personal story about something I posted on Facebook today. And then I'm going to get into some of my tips about actually doing your discovery sessions. But the thing is, we have to attract quality people to our discovery sessions first and foremost. So I'm telling 3 scenarios here. So B, you might be caring more about their success than they do. So it's an energetic match. If you feel like you're pouring like your heart and like everything into it, and they're kind of like, I don't know if I really want to change, you've got to be aware of that. It's a balance when you're talking to someone. You can give them, too much, or you can give them just enough to kind of help them realize that there is some value there, and there's something within what you have to, hey, Fabrizio, there's something that you have to offer them. Hey, Daniel. So tell us your coaching specialty and what city you're from. C, you might be over delivering in a way that's depleting your potency. So if you're coaching them on a session, okay, which it's actually a consultation or discovery session, you're not supposed to be totally coaching. Hey there. Awesome. Thanks for stopping by. You're trained to become a certified coach. Awesome. Well, you're going to find value here. I'm talking about attracting the right kind of clients and how to enroll them. Oh, that's cool. A coach for direct selling moms who want to grow their business. Vegas. Cool. I love that. And you said your biggest downfall is over delivering. Totally. I gave this tip the other day that you guys might like. When you're going through your script, like I use my Soulful Sales script here. And some coaches are like, you shouldn't use a script. But here's the deal. If you don't know what to say and you're not comfortable yet, you've got to start somewhere. And it's nice to have a guideline. So that's my opinion. And I still like to use it. Sometimes I forget to use it because it's all in my head. And I find that when I do use this, it keeps me on track, keeps the client on track, and I actually get better results. So I'll tell you more about the Soulful Sales script in a minute. But here's the tip that I gave on a blab the other day. If you are over delivering, when you're asking the questions, like when you're going through your questions on your discovery session, and you ask a question, you can press mute on your phone. And that way you'll have to like physically unmute it before you talk. And so that will keep you from jumping in too much, or, it's okay if a few seconds goes by. You want the client to talk and really tell you what their pain point is. And they will basically talk themselves into why they want to work with you. But if you're doing all the talking and you're giving them too much information, sometimes it can really backfire on you. So it doesn't really serve anyone. I mean, the client's not going to get the transformation because they're not going to hire you, and they're going to walk away with either getting so much information they feel overwhelmed and they need to like process it all, or they feel like they can go do it on their own now and they don't need your help. Desiree said her script is a lifesaver. Awesome. Yeah, totally. Isn't it help to have that guideline? I agree. So back to my story. What I had said here, this is all in my Facebook post. So if you're a female entrepreneur and you're not in my group, I'm just posting the link again. And not excluding men, once again, it just happens to be a women entrepreneur Facebook group. So love for you to join, and you could read this whole post. Here's the really personal part. And I don't know, like, I feel like I might cry, but I was debating whether to share it because I only posted it in my group and one other group. But now that it's in a couple groups, it's not that private. So the next part of the story was like, if this is happening to you all the time where you're feeling like people aren't appreciating you and you're doing discovery sessions and nobody's signing up and, you're just like wasting your time, take a look at if it's those three things that I just mentioned. And if it's happening to you a lot, it could be a pattern where you're attracting, not bad situations, but like you're attracting the wrong kind of people. You might even do it in relationships or in other areas of your business where you're attracting the wrong kind of team members, or you're attracting the wrong kind of partner, or whatever it may be. So here's what I discovered. I was doing some, I call it energy work. It's kind of like this dance movement energy work thing that I've learned recently called Daibo. So I'll have to do a blab all about Daibo sometime and bring on one of my past clients that's a Daibo expert. So anyway, I was doing this Daibo thing, and I was focusing in on a sense of frustration about when someone doesn't follow through. Like, you've done a consultation and now you're following up with them. Most of the time, like I said, I have a close to 80% closing ratio. So most of the time I do enroll people, but some people aren't a good fit, and you're not going to enroll every single person. So I was realizing there was like this frustration about it. And when I was doing this body work, this energy work, it really, what came up for me was that, first of all, it wasn't about the client or the people that, I was creating that frustration about. It wasn't about them at all. And I realized it actually went way back to my childhood. And I had all this stuff come up that was about when my mom got divorced from my dad when I was like really, really little. And then he just wasn't around. And I had all these phrases come up like, you didn't even care enough to follow through or call or show up, or it was like all this stuff around someone just not giving a crap about you. And I noticed that I had projected that onto situations where someone hadn't, followed through on what they said they were going to do. I can't share the whole script because I can share it when you're in my program, but I don't give the whole thing away for free because, but I'll actually walk you through it. But I can't actually give you this piece of paper, but I'd be happy to go over some of the points of it, and I will in a few minutes. Thanks for that question. I do appreciate it. And I'm going to share as much as I possibly can. So anyway, that's what I uncovered. And so I wanted to start out with that because if you have been having discovery sessions and you've started to see a pattern where you're attracting a lot of the wrong people and, they're not converting, that could be something to look at within yourself. Like, well, who are you attracting? And, that was such a big aha for me is, wow, that frustration, it's really coming from my 3-year-old self. And some of those things weren't even my own thoughts. It was actually stuff that I had picked up from maybe my mom or people around me. That anger was coming, and that frustration was really anger. And below all anger is sadness. So I wanted to share that awareness. I did a whole post on it in my Facebook group. So if you are a woman entrepreneur, I'd love to have you join. And what this recognition did is just make me more it's given me the power over the past few years to be more direct in my consultations or my discovery sessions. By the way, if you're with me here, give me props so I know that you're still tuning in and you're following what I'm saying. Thank you. And tell a little birdie about this blab so that other people can listen to it too. So it's made me more direct with people, and even call people out if they are saying, well, I want to work with you, and they're giving an objection. It's easier now for me to just be direct and isolate the truth. You have to isolate the truth. The I don't have time, or I can't afford, and all that stuff. A lot of times there is something below that. And I'm not about convincing people or any kind of sneaky, sales tactics. I think there's a lot you can learn about sales conversations to help you overcome objections. And I'm going to talk about some of those. But yes, EFT. I've totally heard of EFT, and I haven't really done it. So that's something I really want to do. I'm going to check out that link. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. I've known about EFT for like 15 years because I've been coaching for that long, and I've actually never done EFT, if you can believe that. I've done everything else, it seems like. Okay, so yeah, I think things like EFT, if you are experiencing that, do the energy work, do the body work, get some coaching on it, because that can really help you. So now that I've shared that story, and you've gotten that tip about addressing any emotional blocks that are causing you to not be able to enroll clients. Now I want to talk to you about some other tips that you can help. But I always feel like if you have those internal blocks, if it's not just, sometimes it's a skill set and a mindset shift, but sometimes it's deeper internal blocks. So I really wanted to share that today. Okay, so I'm going to go over the three pillars of Soulful Sales. And by the way, I created this about 4 years ago with my husband, who is a sales trainer. And what happened was he would essentially coach me before and after every consultation. And it really sucked because if you've ever been coached by your spouse, sometimes it's not fun. But what I did is took all of his corporate sales training and I turned it into Soulful Sales. So everything he taught me worked, but I had to turn it into a more elegant, feminine, and men have used this too, but it's got to be more of an, what is the word? It's a better way for coaches, because, we don't necessarily want to come across pushy and salesy and all that kind of stuff. So the first pillar is your mission must be bigger than your ego. So the ego comes into play when you go, oh my gosh, what if they don't enroll? What if they say they can't afford it? Maybe, you're afraid that, oh, I really need this next client and I got to pay my mortgage and all of that stuff. If I ask them to join my program, are they going to think I'm greedy and I only care about money and all this stuff? That's the ego. So your mission to serve someone has to be bigger than your ego. And what that looks like is, for example, when they give you objections, to say, can I ask you a few questions about that? If they say, I can't afford it. And then I always say well, can I ask you a few questions about that? And almost all the time they're going to say yes. So, hey, Lynn, tell us your coaching specialty and where you're coming in from. So you want to your mission needs to be stronger than your ego. The fear is ego, right? So if you're afraid of, handling an objection, if you're afraid of even asking them questions about why they're saying they can't afford it or they don't have time or all these other things, then you're allowing your ego to take over. And the funny thing about that is most people that come to me are so afraid of coming across inauthentic or salesy or any of that kind of stuff. And so the very thing that they're afraid of happens because they get into ego. Anytime you're in ego, you're not being present. You're not being authentic. You're not really being, there in service to them. Hey, H. Sanchez. So we want to make sure that we just check that at the door. And anytime those negative, fearful thoughts come in, we just go, oh, that's my ego. And get that out of the way and get back to focusing on, I'm here to be of service and be present for this client. It also looks like holding them as powerful. And this is a phrase that comes from Kendall Summerhawk, who I got certified as a money breakthrough coach from. And I love when she says that, hold your client as powerful, even if it's a prospective client. If someone says, I can't afford it, I don't have the time, and you just say, oh, okay, then you want to actually empower them and say something like, well, how can you afford it? Or, can we discuss your options? Is that okay with you? And they'll probably say yes. So if you just agree with their objections, if you agree with all the reasons why they can't work with you, then you're basically saying, yeah, you're not resourceful. You can't figure it out. So I think it's really important to say, may I ask you some questions, and delve into those objections. So if you're in that place where you're like hands off, if they give an objection, you're like, oh my God, I can't touch it. Or if they tell you, they have $100 in your bank account. Someone told me the other day, I had a discovery session 2 days ago. It was last night. I had a discovery session last night, and I don't even know what day it is now. I know that it's Friday, but I'm trying to remember. I think it was Wednesday night. Okay, it was Wednesday night. I had a discovery session, and this person told me I have $400 left to my name. And I didn't, make a big deal about that. I mean, hey, I've been in that situation in the past. Like, it's different if the person's, if you're in kind of like the Western world or whatever, it's like, we're pretty blessed. You might have $400 in your bank account, but, we're all resourceful. So, I shared what I had to offer her. I didn't offer her my like $10,000 program, it didn't seem like a match for, what was going on. And there's times when I would, offer that, but I offered her something that I thought was a good starting place. And, of course it was like, well, I don't have the money. Like I said, I only have $400. Well, she decided, we explored her options, and she decided she had some options. And so within an hour, she was messaging me back. I borrowed the money. I'm ready to sign up for your program. And I enrolled her into my home study program. So she's able to get the curriculum, get the content, get the coaching. It's not private coaching, but she was able to step into that. And she's really excited. And I'm really excited that she's in the program. So, we always want to hold our clients as powerful and make sure that we explore options with them. And we don't just decide that, yeah, you're not resourceful. I guess you can't join my program. I guess you're just not able to do it. That's not going to serve them. I mean, that's agreeing with their own limiting beliefs. Okay. I'm glad you like this. Is it Dawn? Thanks, Dawn. I appreciate it. Would love to hear any comments you have on that. All right. So also, you need to have the courage to say what needs to be said, right? So, this discovery session or consultation, it's not to just tell people what they want to hear, like, you're really awesome and oh my gosh, I want to work with you and all this stuff. I mean, sure, I tell people if I really want to work with someone, I'll say I'd like to work with you, because I get to, choose who I want to work with, and you should take on that mentality too if you haven't already. But it's not just to, I've had to tell people, look, your business is failing. Based on what you're telling me, your business is failing. And I don't say it to be mean. And I'll usually say, can I be really frank with you? Can I give you some feedback? And are you available for me to, really be upfront? And most people are like, yes, please tell me. And sometimes we need a kick in the pants. A lot of times someone will hire you as a coach because you're giving them the real feedback, and you're not just letting them skate off into la la land, which is why they might be in the problem that they're in. Maybe you're a relationship coach or a health coach or a business coach or whatever coach it might be. And if you don't give people the real deal, if you don't say, look, you've come to me, you've given me all these issues that you have, and as the expert, this is what the problem is. And here's the reality, like, your marriage is headed for disaster, or your business is, headed for failure, or whatever it may be. We have to really have the courage to say what needs to be said. So let me know if you like that. So Don said he works with clients in the beer industry. Cool. And they're very uncomfortable handling objections. So what do you say to them? I'd love to know what you say to them. And maybe I'll have another tip too that could help. Thanks, Don. Hey, JD. So tell us, Asaki, I'm sorry, I know I'm not pronouncing names right, but Danielle, Teresa, JD, I'm sorry, Asaki, tell us what your coaching specialty is. And, oh, thank you. And tell us your coaching specialty and what city you're coming from. And then if you could tell a little bird about this, there's this little blue button. This will tweet this out and let others join our blab. By the way, please do follow me. Hey, Boomy Benjamin, I've seen you all over Facebook. Good to see you. Follow Boomy. She's always delivering great value. I see her a lot. So follow Boomy, follow Ashaki, Cora, follow everyone that's in this blab, and do follow me. I'm doing blabs about 3 times a week. Monday, I think it's 10 a.m. You'll have to subscribe so you'll get the update. But on Monday morning, actually, I think it's 9 a.m. Monday morning, 9 a.m. Pacific, I'm bringing on my Facebook mentor, who's the creator of Facebook Traffic Explosion. Am I saying it wrong? Oh my God, she's going to kill me. I think it's Facebook Traffic Explosion, but I've been in her program a couple times and she's awesome. And I'm bringing her on. And I'm going to be sharing more about how I get over 60% of my clients from Facebook. And she's going to be talking about the 5 Facebook mistakes, and it's going to be fun. So please do subscribe. And if you're just joining us, I'm talking about how to use Soulful Sales. We're talking about overcoming objections. In the beginning, I shared a really personal story about a big aha moment that I had that related all the way back to my biological dad not being around for me and how that affected sales. So I want you to listen to the replay because it's pretty good. Okay, so I was just talking about the courage to say what needs to be said and holding your client as powerful. Also, we want to stay out of what I call the 4 major yucky energies, and I talk about this in my sales program for coaches, is there's these energies we can get into, like a convincing energy or the energy of doubt and fear. And so we want to look out for how we're showing up in these consultations so that we are not, because people can feel your vibe, right? They can feel your fear and sense it. If you're trying to convince them, they can sense that as well. And so it's about like kind of leaning back and just really being present, being of service. And so that actually leads me to my second pillar. This is my Soulful Sales script. And at the top, I have the 3 pillars that you want to remember. So the first one was your mission must be bigger than your ego. And now I want to talk about the second one, which is that sales is service. And you've probably heard this. If you take on the mindset that sales is service, then you'll be able to better stay out of ego, fear, and all that monkey mindset chatter that's going on while you're in a discovery session. And you'll be able to just be totally present, because the thing that makes you come across salesy or having convincing energy and all that, greed energy and that weird stuff that people that you're afraid that people will pick up on is by being in your ego. And so the way that you can stay in the present moment and stay in service is to remember that that's what you're there for. You have a service. If you're a coach or service provider, you have a service, you have a solution to their problem. And chances are you didn't convince them to get on the phone with you. I mean, you put your offer out there and they came and signed up to have a chat with you. So I want to see a couple of these comments because I missed one. Don said that his people that he works with are afraid to be too salesy. And the funny thing is that they're often selling way too often with weak sales pitches. I help them to fill us on connecting with people. Awesome. And then Saki said, this is really interesting. I run into that all the time with holistic people who would never have thought that would be an issue with people who are in the beer industry. Yeah, totally. I mean, I think these issues are across the board. So, yeah, our ego comes up, right? It goes with us everywhere. Okay, so sales is service. That's a mindset shift you want to make. And I like to replace the word sales with the word enrollment. Hey, Emily. I wanted to see, was that Emily or who else? I want to see who this gal is. Linda. Hey, Linda, I didn't say hi to you. Awesome. So tell us what city you're coming from and what your specialty is. Like, what do you do? It looks like Linda's a real estate agent. Wow, you do a lot of entrepreneur groupie. I love it. Okay, so before I get into the last tip, if you would all follow me, subscribe, that way you'll be alerted of the next blabs that I'm doing. And then for those of you that are female entrepreneurs, I've said this a million times now, not discriminating, just I happen to have a female entrepreneur group. I'm going to post the link. I would love for you to join my permission to charge community for women entrepreneurs on Facebook, and maybe you'll be the 400th member today. So we've got someone from Santa Barbara and also does social media. Awesome. Hey, the executive, Carl, Emily, awesome. Good to see you guys. Please go tweet this. There's a little button that says tell a little birdie if you would do that. And if you like what I've shared today, give me props. That tells me that you're liking this content. And so again, reiterating, sales is service, change your mindset to that, and even replace the word sales with enrollment, because what I believe is that as a coach or service provider, if you create any kind of transformation for people, you're not selling anything. You're actually enrolling, you're helping someone enroll in their own transformation. So when you're on a sales call with them, or an enrollment call that I like to say, you are supporting them, guiding them to enroll in their own transformation. So while they might be enrolling in your program, they're enrolling in themselves, right? I mean, anything in life is enrollment. If you're in a relationship or you're a parent or in your business, you have to be enrolled. You have to be like really committed to that relationship. And just like a coaching relationship or a coaching program, that's enrollment. And so I think if you can translate, or you can transfer the word sales to the word enrollment, especially if you have a lot of yucky negative stuff around sales, you can use the word enrollment to have a big mindset shift around that. Hey, Coach Carr, awesome. Thank you. And we've got Orlando, Florida. Cool. I work with real estate agents, mainly coaches, but I'm all about pricing and packaging your expertise. So I love real estate agents too. And I see that you are a note investor, attorney in your own law practice. Wow, you're a woman of a lot of talent, Linda. That's so cool. Very inspiring to see the kind of amazing people that show up here in Blab. I'd love to have you join my group, Linda. I just posted the link to my women permission to charge female entrepreneur community. So I'm going to give you the link right there. So my last pillar of Soulful Sales, this is on my Soulful Sales script, is, wow, I actually already addressed it, is enrollment is partnership. So I'll go more in depth on that. When you are selling, you're enrolling someone, just like I said. And if you can think of this enrollment as a partnership, so you are working together. And so when you're doing your consultation or your discovery session, the way that you word things, you can use the word we, like, we will do this in our program together. We will accomplish this. We will get these kind of results. Together, we will create these results in your life or your business. If you can use that word, the word we, quite a bit in your conversation, it shows them that you're on their side. You know, you're not trying to sell them. You're trying to partner with them to help them create this result in their life. So let me see if I missed any of my tips that I want to share. Okay, this is a good segue. So this other piece I wanted to share is that as you're doing the consultation, there's a lot of words and phrases that you can use to, again, reinforce the value, because that's what I hear all the time, people coming to me and saying, like, I don't know how to convey my value. And so that's really what my company Permission to Charge is about, is, you know, pricing and packaging, showcasing your value, and then being able to sell. And so you want to have clients tell you why they want to work with you and why they're a good candidate for your program. So oftentimes I will ask someone at the beginning of the call, you know, how do you think I can help you achieve X? So they've come to me to solve the problem of X, and I'll often say, how do you think I can help you solve the problem of X? And they'll say, well, I understand that you help people with their pricing and their packaging and how to create their coaching programs and the sales piece, and I'm struggling with that. And I read your testimonials and I see that you can do this, this, and this. And so I'm asking them to basically tell me why they want to be in the program. And that way you're never convincing anyone. They're telling you why they want to do it. I'm going to read what Boomy said. As a coach, you find yourself sewing into your clients' lives on many levels. What do you take away from the relationship? Awesome. Tell me more about that question. I don't know if it's like more like a think about it question, but I like what you're saying, Boomy. I love it. So I want to hear more. Because the last part, I'm not sure if it's like a question for me or it's kind of just like part of the conversation. But I'd love to have you on. I'm going to hop off soon, but Boomy, I would love to have you on here, actually like interview you. What do you take away from the relationship? Oh, okay. What do I take away from the relationship? Gosh, that's kind of a big question. I take so much away from the relationship with my coaching clients. First of all, I learn so much. I see parts of them within myself or parts of me in them. Sometimes it's, this person is where I was a few years ago, or sometimes they have qualities that I really admire. And so I just take every client as I'm as much as I'm contributing to them. I'm always learning from them, watching them, seeing them grow. I'm always amazed at my clients' tenacity and their commitment and their follow through. And it's not easy being an entrepreneur. So, I just get so much joy out of seeing them succeed and overcome those obstacles. And, in one coaching session, it could be like, oh, I'm really struggling. And then like you see them turn a corner, and then like the next session, they've had this like big breakthrough. And that's my favorite thing about it. In a way, it should connect you back to your why. Yeah, totally. 100%. I love it. Okay. So, I think we are done here. These are all the tips I want to share. I want to thank you all. There's so many of you on here. If you would subscribe to me, I'm going to be doing a blab on Monday around 9 a.m. Pacific, and I'm going to schedule it right now because it's not currently scheduled. So as soon as I get off, I will schedule it so that you'll be able to subscribe to that particular blab. But I'm going to bring on Alina Vincent, and if you haven't heard of her, she's a creator of Facebook Traffic Explosion Program, and I really credit her to the fact that over 60% of my clients are coming from Facebook now. So she's going to talk about some of the 5 mistakes that we make with Facebook in particular. And she's just absolutely amazing. She came to me from Christian Michelson. If you know him, he has coached millions of coaches, and he's really, really well known in the coaching industry. And he referred her, and I got hooked up with her, and I took her program and then signed up for it again, and have gotten to be with her, personally here in Seattle when she came to visit. So I'm excited to have her on and interview her and share her wisdom with all of you and her techniques and things that she does. And her story was that she was a photographer, and she figured out really how to master Facebook, and she started getting tons of clients for her photography business from Facebook. And then she had all these people asking her how she did it. And she is just a phenomenal entrepreneur, just amazing woman. I will record it for sure, Asaki. They're all recorded. I always record my blabs, and you can see all the replays. So I'm glad that you're subscribed. And for those of you that are women entrepreneurs, I'd love to invite you into my group. I think we're going to get to 400 people today, because we're at 4 more people, and then we'll be at 400 people in my permission to charge community group. So that will be really fun to invite you all in. And what else can I say before we leave? If you are a coach who really struggles with the sales aspect, you're not sure how to keep yourself booked up with consults. This month I've had like almost 20 consultations, so it's a lot. But what I do in my sales program is I teach you how to stay booked up with discovery sessions and consults, whatever you might call it. I teach you different strategies and show you screenshots of Facebook posts that work, how to use Blab. I have gotten discovery sessions from Blab, even though I'm very new. I just started. It doesn't say, I think last time I checked, I was like 28 days new on Blab, but this is maybe my 11th Blab. I talk about how, speaking, webinars, all the different ways that you can attract discovery sessions. And then I give you my Soulful Sales script. I do an in-depth training on that script. And so that's in my sales program for coaches. And I'll just post a link there if in case anyone wants to check into that. And you can always go to permissiontocharge.com if you feel like you need to talk to me one-on-one. Hey, Jonathan, thanks for coming in here. We are just closing up now, but please do subscribe, check out the replay. Let's follow each other. If you see someone in this group that, looks interesting, follow them, subscribe to them, follow them. Let's try to create more of a community. I'm having so much fun on Blab. So I want to thank Linda and Jonathan, Jeff, Positive Library, the executive, Danielle, the VP, Emily, Gina, Boomy, Asaki, I know I'm saying it wrong, Lynn and Patricia, Desiree, Mahir, and everyone else that's on. I can only see those ones at the top. So I just want to thank you all. I hope you listen to the replay. And I'll be back on Monday with the amazing Alina Vincent. I think I'm going to have balloons. It's going to be like a party. So I'm going to do something pretty fun on Monday. I believe we scheduled 9 a.m. Pacific. I'm going to grab my calendar and then I'm going to schedule that Blab in the next 2 or 3 minutes. So if you just check back to my profile, you can subscribe to the Monday Blab, and then your phone or your, I don't think your computer will, I only have it on my phone, but Blab will send you these little messages and let you know, Jessica's going on Blab right now. So if you want to catch the one on Monday and even be able to hop in and ask Alina questions about your effectiveness on Facebook, because if you're here, you're probably all on Facebook too. And if you're spending a lot of time and not getting clients, she's a great one to answer your questions. So I'm excited that she's going to be on with me on Monday morning. And so thank you so much. I'm so glad you guys were here. I'm going to try to go and follow as many of you as I can right now. And I will also be updating that Monday Blab so you can subscribe and you'll get notified. Before you leave, will you tell a little birdie that will tweet this out and let other coaches know about this? And they'll be able to catch the replay if you tweet it out. So I would very much appreciate you clicking that little button and sharing this with others. Bye, Cora. I'm so glad you were here. Okay, bye, everyone. Have a great day.